How do you know if it's your intuition, if it's spirit, or it's just your own thoughts? Today, we're going to talk about developing and trusting your intuition and what discernment actually is and how to develop that. If you're new here, my name is Layla Taylor. This is Stop Trying to Be Spiritual. And it's the show I created all about intuition, spirituality, channeling your spirit guides, but doing it in a way of which we connect into our shadow, our inner child, our body, and bridge those two worlds together so that we can truly become a channel, a vessel through which our soul can lead and guide us in a more conscious way. This has been a question I've received quite a few times, just even the past week. I know it's a topic of conversation of like, how do I know? How do I know if it's me? How do I know if it's spirit? How do I know if it's my intuition? At first, you don't. You're really not going to be able to know, is that me? Is that my mental mind? Or is that spirit? Now, there is some ways that we're going to talk about today to start allowing yourself to develop more trust and create a clearer experience where it's easier to trust your intuition. But I really want to be clear here at first. You're not going to. You're not going to. What you have to do is develop discernment by continually showing up every single day, ideally, connecting into the heart, connecting into the body, clearing energy that isn't yours, creating a unified energetic field, opening your chakra centers, and then move into the heart. Then you're going to start asking questions intuitively to your own energy. And when I say intuitively, what I also mean is that we're not specifically saying I'm just talking to my spirit guides. We're not specifically saying I'm connecting into the Akashic. I'm connecting into my higher self. Intuition is the filter through which everything is flowing through. Okay. So it's just the sense of knowingness. When we connect in that way, and we're like, okay, what is it that I most need to know? You are just going to have to trust that because you have set your intentions, that because you have worked, meaning before you just go, what do I most need to know today? You've done the work of opening up your energy, releasing energy that isn't yours. You've already accessed this other field of energy by going into your chakra system. And I really use the chakra system in a multifocal way, meaning we open up our chakra system because it is the way of which our psychic abilities flow through. So, your clairsentience, your clairaudience, all of that, but also they're portals to the unconscious, to the psyche that allow us to understand our coding, meaning why do we behave the way we behave? The personality of you, what has created that? Often we have an awareness of ourselves to a certain extent, but there's about 98% that's within the unconscious, that's within the psyche that we are unaware of. And so the chakra system I utilize as portals to that through symbolism and metaphor. That is another video that I'm going to create. I utilize it for my own healing, my own experience, but then also for clients. So that will be coming out as well. But you've done the work to open yourself up and be in the perfect energetic state. Meaning you're in the heart, you're expanded, you've cleared energy that isn't yours. You've set your intentions. You've now opened your access to receiving psychic information through a cleaner filter. You being the filter, you being the channel. Then at that point, it's going to be you just asking the question of what is it that I most need to know? And then allowing yourself to go back and forth by utilizing either symbolism, metaphor. What do you want to say? What do you feel? What do you know to be true? What can you empathically feel and then receive information from that as well? And then you're just going to do that. You're going to continue to work in that way every single day. What's going to happen is you are going to develop what is called discernment. Discernment is the ability to know what information is for you, where the information is coming from, where there's mistruth in it. But you can't know that before you actually put the work in. And if you've listened to the show before, I've likened this to new parents reading a how to be a parent guidebook. And yeah, that's kind of helpful. That's kind of like what psychic and intuitive courses kind of teach you. But you aren't going to be able to distinguish what is a hungry cry versus I'm tired versus I'm cold versus I just need to be held cry until you every single day hold your child and cater to them and take care of them. And then you're like, okay, kid 2, 3, 4, you're like, oh, I know that cry. Why? Because you've sat in the experience every single day. You develop discernment. Starting to have discernment of, is that spirit versus my ego, my mental thoughts? You're going to have to go, okay, let me move into this. What does my spirit feel like versus what do spirit guides feel like versus what do loved ones feel like versus what does my mental energy feel like? How does it sound like? The way of which the message comes in has just a different flavor. So a lot of us want to have absolute certainty that what I'm receiving is from this and not this. You can't have it. If I could really offer you anything, give that up. Give it up. That's your way of feeling safe. That's your way of feeling like, okay, I'll do this if I know that I can't be wrong. But the thing about intuition, the thing about developing your psychic abilities, whatever it is, being a medium, is it is a game of interpretation. It's a game of guess who. The only way you graduate into this level of discerning, because I just know, is by the actual experience itself, by allowing yourself to go through it. So allow that initiation for yourself of, I'm just not going to know. And that's why when I talk to people about developing their abilities, you're not asking questions at first that are what I call heavy hitters. What are the heavy hitters? It's relationship, it's career. Those are one of the biggest things. People will never have ever spent any time connecting into their intuition. And then they'll ask a question of should I leave my husband? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Wrong. Red light. Don't do that. Absolutely don't ask questions like that. Not at first. Not when you are wanting to develop discernment, not when you're wanting to develop intuition. What we're going to just first be asking ourselves is, what is it that I most need today? What is it that I most need to know? And allowing the message to come through. And then going back and forth, learning to then ask questions upon that, which is something that a lot of my clients struggle with, is okay, I'll get an answer, but I don't know how to ask another question. And so I take myself to be quite a whiz with that. I know how to ask questions in different ways. That's part of what Spirit Connector and mentorship really is how do you then ask other questions? But by developing that every single day, you'll start to understand the unique flavor and or frequency of what it feels like to intuitively hear a message. Because remember, again, you have to make sure that you're in the right energetic state with all of the methods that I spoke about earlier, the dropping, the clearing, the going into the heart, holding open the chakra system, connecting to the body. What does the body need to feel safe in this moment? You attend to all of your needs so that you ensure that the frequency that you're on, the radio station that you are on, has the highest likelihood to bring through the exact messaging from the exact person or the exact frequency, meaning spirit, soul, intuition. We're using these interchangeably. That you can then trust. So then how do we continue to develop this, right? How do we get to the point where, how I am, where I know it's my guides talking. I know which guide is talking. I know when it's psychic energy that someone else is sending me. I can tell when it's my own shadow. I can tell when it's my body. I can tell when it's past life related. How did I go through and start to understand that? Well, first I focused on me. Channeling my own intuition. What does that feel like? Okay. Then I slowly introduced different channels. So I would say, okay, I want to connect into this spirit guide. And then I would allow that spirit guide to come forward. What do they feel like? How do they sound? How do they speak? What is their cadence? I would remove them and I would pay attention to it. And then I would call in another guide. What do they feel like? What is their cadence? The thing is, even through all of these modes, it's still communication, right? You're still getting a message, but the feeling of the message is different. The next time that you open up your energy, you'll say, okay, what does my heart want to tell me? What does my own intuition want to tell me? I'll channel that. And then I'm going to call my guide in and I'm going to ask my guide the exact same question. I'm going to notice the slight difference. It's not like investigation discovery where you're like, let me go investigate. Like, how are you different? How you send it to me? They're going to feel very similar. And so just like I said, like a baby's cry, all of the cries are basically a cry, right? It's a form of communication, but there's just a slight shift in how they cry. Same way of how to build discernment about what the source of the information and or energy is. Now, important thing to know is that when you are in the heart, it's very hard for your mental mind, for your thoughts to take over. It's very difficult. And this is why I teach to stay in the heart. And I have different techniques of how to stay pinned in the heart, so that it naturally shuts the valve of the mental mind, of the thinking mind, from taking over when we're in this intuitive state that we have initiated through intention, clearing of energy, and anchoring of our soul's frequency. Those are the ways that we bring the energy forward, and then we connect it intuitively to the heart. That's going to shut it down. Now, sometimes I'll go through exercises with clients where I'll put them up into their head. We'll feel into what the head feels like, what talking feels like, what conversation, what ego feels like, and then we move back into the heart. What I do as a mentor is I empathically mirror you. So the entire time you're connecting in, I'm connecting with you. So I feel when you go back to your head. I'll say, oh, pull that back down there. And they're like, oh yeah, that just happened. I just pulled up. Right. The thing is we're not aware of what we're not aware. That's why mentorship is helpful, because I don't just send you home with homework. We do it together. So right in that moment, you can course correct in that exact, it's like getting singing lessons. You can get lessons and be told to go home and hit all of these octaves, and you can hope that you're doing it right. Or you can have your teacher right in front of you. And as soon as you're not holding the note right, or you're moving your air in a different way, they correct you in real time. So that's really what happens in mentorship is I correct in real time so that you're not just stuck in this confusing, I hope I did that right. You're very aware of where your energy is. Again, over time, you are going to, through choosing to connect into all these different frequencies, you have to choose to experience that and then go, okay, I can see a subtle shift of energy, a subtle different way of receiving it. Okay, interesting. And then you just continue to move forward. Let me connect into a loved one. Oh, okay. It's communication all the same. All roads lead to Rome. All is communication. It's just starting to build discernment of how each one's communication feels slightly different, or you see it slightly different, or you receive it. It either expands your energy or contracts your energy. Let yourself off the hook of that's just what I want to say. People say that a lot. They'll receive something intuitively and they're like, I feel like that's just what I want to hear. Do you think that it should be something crazy? That's how we so gaslight ourselves, is they're like, well, that's what, like, I feel like I would want to hear that. Yeah, that's good. People almost will believe their intuition more if it's some completely off the wall, crazy thing rather than what they've been receiving probably intuitively for the last year, their intuition telling them silently. Hey, this job isn't aligned. Hey, this job isn't aligned. Hey, this job isn't aligned. Not for what you're wanting. So when we go intuitively and we go into the heart and we ask and you hear like, this job is not aligned for you. Like, oh, that's probably just what I want to hear. Yeah. You've already been receiving these messages. When we choose to connect in intuitively or with our guides or whatever it is, you're just pulling it more to the forefront. It should have been a reverberation of a message you've already been receiving. I'll have people who will be like, what should I do career-wise, or what should I do? And it's almost as though they want something completely different than what they have already felt called to do. Like, if you're going to school to be an engineer and you want to be an engineer, but you're hoping that spirit says, no, drop this and go become an intuitive, or drop this and become an artist, you'll put more weight on it. Because you think that intuition is separate from you. You think it's something that you haven't had access to when you've been trying to gain access to, but you've already had the access to your intuition because it's who you are. It's just been in the background. It's been filtering in through like this sense of just feelings or what you consider random thoughts. in your dreams, in your own retraction and discomfort in the experience of your life that you're having. Your intuition's been speaking to you through multiple different ways. So when we sit and connect, we're just choosing, make it more conscious, make it more clear for me. And so I also think that's why people think, oh, it's just my mind. But again, how do we develop the ability to stay out of the mind? So where we're not overly thinking, it's learning how to stay in the heart. It's clearing energy. It's setting the intention that that's what you're going to be doing. And it's calling back your own frequency to become more present. That's the steps I'm going to take you through, whether it's the first day of mentorship, it's the first spirit connector session, is the absolute necessary steps that everyone wants to skip over. But if you are on, it's what puts you on the station of 96.7 spirit, 96.7 intuition, is opening your energy to be in that expansive state in the heart, collapse the valve of the mind that wants to be chitty chatty. Then from there, let me sit every day and start to build not the information, because you have information, but build the knowledge and then the wisdom of the subtleties of how intuitive energy and or spirit communication can feel to you. Again, I'll reiterate, don't ask questions that spikes your ego up. You can ask questions around the question. Like, first, what is it that I most need to know? But what is it that I most need to know about my marriage? What is it that I most need to know about my relationship to my spouse? What am I not seeing? Instead of, should I leave this relationship? And you got 5 kids, you're 18 years in, and you're thinking about having another baby, and you're asking, should I leave this marriage? The answer could be yes. I don't know. But if you care about yourself and you care about developing your intuition, not just so that you can get an answer and cha-ching it in and like, I got my answer, now I'm not going to worry about developing this anymore. But you really want to understand your intuition is going to absolutely require you to not ask questions that are that heated at first, to develop the ability to discern, is this my mind? Is this my heart? And then also doing the back and forth. Let me go into my mind. Let me go into my heart. Let me go here. Let me go here. Let me go into the mental space and the spiritual space. Do you know how to dance back and forth between those so that you can start to see the difference of how the communication is still happening, but how they feel different? Say you want to do readings for other people and you're like, well, shoot, if I don't know first off, if this is me or not, I'll never trust myself to do readings. Of course, you shouldn't be doing paid readings at this point. You should be learning how to develop that mastery, how to take the information of, okay, Layla told me to do this, this, and this. That's information, into knowledge, which is actual experience. You experiencing and applying the information you've received. Then after time, what discernment really is wisdom. It's knowledge applied over time, where it's just your beingness. Okay, my beingness, my application of information into lived experience of knowledge, into the embodiment of wisdom. I no longer worry about, is that coming from here or here? I literally don't anymore. Because I used to for multiple years. That's because I was still in the knowledge phase where I was needing to apply information into knowledge to develop deep-seated wisdom of trust, of experience. You can't jump over it. And I'm not saying that you're trying to, but sometimes we're unconsciously trying to make ourselves feel safe, to give ourselves permission to start listening to our intuition. And you don't need that. You can't have that. It is literally not available to you until you go through the rite of initiation of, I might be making this up. All right. Can I be okay with that? Looking foolish, what you think is foolish, and allow that to be my learning without having to criticize or judge myself or count myself out as, maybe I'm not intuitive this life. Maybe this isn't meant for me in this life. Over time, you will definitely develop it. So if there does become a time where you do want to practice with other people, at first you tell them, I am a developing intuitive. I'm a developing medium. I'm developing Akashic reader. I'm a developing energy healer. Let yourself in your pride drop down and tell people, I'm developing and I'm trying to figure this out as well. Are you willing to let me try to figure it out with you? Allow yourself to be curious. Oh, I feel like I went into my mind. That's why, again, I so drill home the importance of the energy state, of maintaining it through your own connection to spirit, and or when you are mirroring onto someone else's experience and you're doing a reading for them, is to stay in the energetic state and to learn how to tell when you removed yourself out of it. I hope this helped give you a little bit more clarity, maybe some new thought pieces to think about, maybe some new things to add in to your own spiritual connection, your own ritual. Please create a ritual if you don't have one. If you're interested in learning how you uniquely receive intuitive information, if you're interested in having someone near and empathically work with you and merge with your system while you connect into your intuition, while you connect into your spirit guide, so that I can channel with you and validate and or shift your experience while you're going through it, look into Spirit Connector sessions and my 3-month mentorship. That's really where most of my time is spent and most of my dedication to appointment space is. Please like and follow the show, share with anyone that you think would really benefit from this. I'm always interacting in the comment section, and I love when you drop your experience of what you felt about the show. Thank you for showing up and listening. Until next time, stop trying to be spiritual.